What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and we are going to be talking about my own personal teams against the upcoming treasure map against Spandam, and of course the Intrusion boss being Arlong, picking up those Super Evolution skulls. So I've already made my video talking about the preparation, so getting yourself ready to go, having a look at the boosted list, and kind of piecing together what you could potentially build. Of course, it is totally dependent on your character box and what characters that you were lucky or unlucky enough to get or not get during the recent Sugo Fest, of course. But today I'm here to show you guys what I have built, and potentially this might help you out in taking a different approach for each of these upcoming bosses. So without further ado, let's jump into it with our first boss here, which is going to be Fukuro. Now, versus Fukuro, the 6+ Wano Law is the most ideal captain to use for this content, alongside the recommended unit of Treasure Map Jinbei. Jinbei's nice because he gets around the paralysis and the special bind that's inflicted to the crew, and he also grants a color affinity boost, which is pretty solid. Now that I think about that, I really don't need Eneru on this team, so you see Eneru support attached to the Zoro character here. That is completely unnecessary because of Jinbei, and he already provides color affinity, so that's not really a big issue. But Law's great because you get a full board of int slots. The strength, dex, quick, and int slots are all treated as badly matching slots. So the fact that he gives you int is pretty good for Law, because Law's captain ability makes int slots become Wano slots. So you just get a full board of Wano slots, so thank you very much, Fukuro, for granting us that. And then Law's special ability, when you launch it, he'll do end of turn damage as well to get around the enemy resilience on this stage as well. So Law and Jinbei are the really nice units for this team. As for the rest of the crew here, Carrot and Wanda are only here because of the support of Odin and Roger to grant an attack boost for quick and slasher units when we reach the final stage. Vista is here because of wave clearing, and Zoro is here because he's a Psy slasher that's going to get a boost from that support of Odin and Roger, and that's just kind of it, you know, pretty straightforward kind of fight. Moving on now to our secondary fight versus Ikaros. We're going to be using a very, very low boosted team for this one, mainly because we're going to use double Cat Viper, we've got Dogstorm, we have Hiyori. All of these units are not boosted, but they help a lot in this content. We can use the super class or the super types of Cat to wave clear the first two stages, because the damage does go through defense, so despite the mobs having high defense, we really don't have to worry about that at all. And then when we reach the final stage, we're going to have a full board of Wano slots thanks to Hiyori's crewmate effect, giving us a full board of Wano at the start of the quest. We do get special reverse, and there is fear reduction and stuff like that, but the support of Carrot on Dogstorm will reduce the character's cooldown by 2 turns at the start of Battle 3, which means that we can activate the Dog special to give cooldown to the rest of the crew, so that shouldn't really be that big of a deal at all. If I remember correctly, I believe Dog and Cat give 2 turns of cooldown. I'm pretty sure they give 2 turns of cooldown. Yeah, it is. Okay, so that's not a big issue at all. So, Dogstorm will give everyone cooldown. We can activate the Cat special as well to get an orb boost. And then, you know, that's just kind of it. We have Koala and Croc because they're the highest boosted dex units that I could fit on this team. And that's just kind of it, right? We're using the Sabo support on Koala to grant a chain boost on the final stage. So yeah, nothing too complex, but, you know, Cat Viper, Dogstorm, they just continue to see play on treasure maps because of their extreme usefulness for wave clearing, getting to the final stage very quickly, and ignoring enemy defensive effects, which in this case is 7 turns of Rainbow Shield, which yes, you can just get around it with specials, but you could also just bypass it with these characters, making it much faster to clear the content. The next one on the list is Sasaki. Now this was the team that actually took me the longest to try and build for, because there's a lot of gimmicks in this quest, and this is the team where they wanted you to use like the new Legend Nami that came out for the Memories of the Straw Hats with Belmir and stuff. And if you don't have those units, it's actually a little bit tricky, but I do think Ace Yamato are a really good call here because they deal with the bind, the special bind, and they have hunger removal in their potential ability. So they deal with like half of the gimmicks just by themselves. There is other gimmicks though. There's block slots / badly matching slots. There is 5 turns of paralysis as well, and there is a barrier where you have to hit with 2 tandem slots in order to break through the barrier. So with this team, we have Zorojuro to wave clear the first 2 stages. We've got the supports of Barter on Robin and Sanji on Zorojuro to grant 5 turns of paralysis removal when we reach the final stage. Now Green Bull is just kind of here because he's a high boosted dex unit. That's really the only reason why he's here. We've also got the Luffy. Luffy's really key for this team in particular because his special ability will grant a full board of tandem slots and grant a very big attack boost as well. So that's the main reason why the Luffy is here in particular. The support on Luffy is the Momo support rare recruit. This support is not required at all, it just gives tap timing chain bonus, so nothing too crazy. And then we do have Ushimaru attached to Ace Yamato, which grants a 1.75 times not color affinity, orb boost when we reach the final stage. So Luffy gives attack, Ushimaru support for orb boost, Raizo support for color affinity, and Luffy obviously gives the attack boost and the full board of tandem. We can use the switch effect of Ace and Yamato to grant a chain boundary. So this team seems fine. I'm pretty sure it shouldn't have that many issues in this content at all. I feel pretty comfortable with this team. I don't think it's the best team for this, but considering the amount of gimmicks that are in this particular fight, I do think that a team such as this is what most people will have to resort to in order to get through this comfortably. And you don't have to run wave farming characters like I am with Zorojiro and Vista in the first team, for example, but it does make a little bit more, ease of use for these types of teams and makes Treasure Map a little bit more bearable when you're able to blast through these bosses much quicker. And the final Battle Rush boss here is going to be against Senor Pink. So this is a very similar team that I suggested in my preparation video using the double Gear 5 Luffy, mainly just because you don't have to worry about the defensive effects of the damage immunity and the % damage reduction for this quest, as well as the fact that when you kill Senor Pink, he does like a 200,000 death hit. So when you have one Luffy as Gear 5, one of them as the base Luffy, you can just tank a death hit and revive, so it's not really a big issue at all. So in order to activate Luffy's EX Super to transform one of them into Gear 5, we need 3 Straw Hats or Law, Yamato, Kid, etc. So we're just using Brook for wave clearing, he's fantastic, Frankie, and also the Sanji character. Now, because of the fact that we don't have the anniversary ship this time around, I don't think Luffy is going to have his cooldown ready to go when we reach the final stage, so that's why I'm running all of these random supports like Shirahoshi, Vivi, Hancock, and Mr. 3. These supports are only here just to generate matching slots on our crew, so just in case if we don't get matching slots, those characters will be able to provide that through the supports. We have the Sanji special for an orb boost, we have Frankie for color affinity, and the other key character on this team is Katakuri. Now, Katakuri can be replaced with a lot of different units, but the important part about this is the support, which is Perispero. Now, this support effect is really, really cool because it will go ahead and state that whenever you're inflicted with chain attack down, it gives you a 2.75 chain lock for 1 turn. So this is dope because on the final stage, you get a chain attack down where you have to exceed 2.5. So this support gives a 2.75 times chain lock, which means that we don't have to worry about our chain being at a disadvantage. Now, the enemy does interrupt chain locks, so a chain locking special will cause problems for you, but a chain locking support is a way around it, so that's what we're doing here. So by activating Gear 5, we activate Sanji and Frankie, and then we could just go ahead and kill, and that should be able to get through the Senor Pink fight pretty comfortably, I think. Alright, now we get to the final boss, which is against Spandam. Now, of course, what goes without saying, the friend captain for this team is going to be the new legend Frankie, so hopefully we were able to find some of those as friend captains here. But I'm going to be using the Memories of Straw Hats Usopp as my captain this time around. So the way that we're getting around this is on stage 2, there is going to be the stun, which Arlong deals with. Then we're going to use Frankie on stage 2, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but the main reason, we don't really need Frankie's buffs on stage 3, really, so we can use Frankie on stage 2, which grants the tap timing bonus damage for 5 turns, and then when we launch the special of Tom, which I was lucky enough to get, Tom's special ability states that if we have tap timing bonus damage, the chain boost of Tom lasts for 3 turns, so that's going to be big. But Tom also removes the attack down for us, which is fantastic. And then finally, before moving on, we're going to activate the Mihawk special. That removes the Rainbow Shield. So by activating Arlong for stun, Frankie special, Tom special for the attack down and the chain boost for multiple turns, and then Mihawk for the Rainbow Shield, should be able to get through that comfortably. We then move on to the final stage where we have both of the super classes activated from both Usopp and Frankie so that we can actually generate their cooldown and stuff, because we need to make sure that they have cooldown, and there's 6 turns of special reverse on the first row, so those characters with their super types or super classes get 10 turns of cooldown from their super effects, so that's really, really good for avoiding that. Nami Karina do have the crewmate ability of resisting 2 turns of special reverse, so we don't have to worry about them at all. So the way that we're getting around this is by activating the the superclasses of both of our captains to get cooldown and stuff. Usopp's special ability will actually remove 7 turns of damage threshold, and then the support of Vivi attached to Nami Karina will also remove an additional 2 turns of damage threshold. So the damage threshold will actually be removed, so that's fantastic. And Usopp also gives set target status, which gives additional damage to our free spirit and shooter characters, which of course Frankie will be as our friend captain, so that's going to work out pretty good actually. And then that's just kind of it, which is awesome. We don't have to worry about the interrupt because we chain boosted in the previous turn and it should have been extended from Tom's special effect. And we also have the Nami special as well. Nami can actually go ahead and remove paralysis. So we'd use the switch effect, of course, of Nami Karina switching into Nami, because Nami actually doesn't get cooldown on this fight. It's only Dex, Quick, and Int characters. So we start off as Karina, and then we'll just switch into Nami so that we can use her special. She changes paralysis slots that we get given on this stage into matching, and she also grants an attack boost. Usopp's superclass effect gives an orb boost. So this actually sounds pretty good, and I think it will be pretty good for taking on this final boss versus Spandam. So as for now, theoretically, it seems pretty comfortable, but I guess we'll have to wait and see once the TM comes out to determine how good this team actually is. And then we move on to our final boss, which is versus Arlong, the Intrusion boss, that is. Now, once again, the friend captain is going to be the new legend, Frankie. Now, on stage 2, we're going to be dealing with a couple of different things. So there is the 4 turns of defense. Now, while you can go ahead and, bring a character to remove the defense, we're actually going to be abusing the captain effect of the new legend Frankie. The new legend Frankie's captain effect states that if you have barrier penetration that is able to be activated when you tap perfect, it removes 2 turns of enemy's defense up. Now on this team, we're going to have Frankie friend captain, we're going to have this Psy free-to-play Usopp, and we're going to have Tom, all with barrier penetration. So as long as we hit 2 perfects, the defense will be removed completely, although we are inflicted with burn, which is why we have Green Bull, who will remove the burn, gives us matching slots, and gives us an orb boost. So that works out pretty well, honestly, and that should be all we need to do to get through stage 2. For the final stage, though, there's a lot of things to talk about. So there's 6 turns of special bind on the left side. So to get around the special bind, we have the free-to-play Usopp, which removes 5 turns, and then we also have the support of Carrot on Nami and Karina, which removes 1 turn of special bind when you reach stage 3. So that combined will remove all of that. Now, there is 6 turns of paralysis, which is why Nami Karina is here. Nami special removes paralysis, and it removes the rainbow shield, so it enables us to remove 2 things at once. However, there is actually an interrupt. If you remove the enemy's damage reduction, the 6 turns of damage reduction, he will apply damage reduction again, which is why we have the Sai Jinbei on this team. The Sai Jinbei will remove, again, all turns of enemy's damage reduction, and it also gives a chain boundary effect. And then, of course, we've got Frankie's special to activate too, which will give us even more damage. So with all of that, we're going to have an attack boost from Nami, we'll have color affinity from Frankie, we'll have chain boundary. We should have enough damage, I think, to get through this particular team. So yeah, this one looks pretty good, honestly. We'll see how things progress and see if anything needs to be changed. Tom's special didn't even get activated a single time, so I could probably find a way to activate Tom's special as well. Probably can activate it on the final stage, which stacks well with Jinbei, as Jinbei grants chain boundary, and then if you have Tom granting chain boosting as well, so that could actually work pretty well. So I think that these teams at the moment seem pretty good theoretically. Again, we'll have to wait and see once the TM comes out to see if the teams work effectively enough. So with all that being said, that is going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.